Welcome to this series about capacity and capability building to craft and shape operations enabling adoption and adaption. As we go through this journey, we take a more in-depth look at selected aspects with a focus on business issues around technological transformation. With these being more in depth on heavier materials, please feel free to review the takeout points if in a rush, but also take your time to go through, pause, and get the real benefits. We hope the skills and expertise shared is of value to you and those you support in this changing world. Please subscribe, add your comments, and share with others. This week, we look at strategy and its role within the adoption and adaption of artificial intelligence and transformation around the use of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a strategic transformation for which a strategy for the use of artificial intelligence is required. Implementation of AI is to an overall strategy driven by the pragmatic needs of making changes. Transformation is staged and incremental, bringing benefits. Alignment to strategy is required for the successful AI integration. Thank you for staying. We look at strategy because it is integral to the successful implementation and transformation around artificial intelligence. Let us consider a government seeking economic transformation around AI. First, the strategic aspects. Objective. There needs to be an objective, which is what is to be achieved. An objective needs to be clear and measurable. Implicit within an objective is the why are we doing it? Strategy. This is how the objective is to be met. Again, it needs to be clear and quantifiable, including when it is needed. Strategic risk. The risk is what is driving the objective and what happens if there is a change. It is the combination of objective, strategy, and strategic risk which comes together. For a government wanting to stimulate the economy around AI, the objective, the strategy is to attract technology leading companies to build a homegrown capacity and capability. The change in drivers like economic returns are not seen because of technology changes, is part of the strategic risk management. We ask the question, why is AI adoption and adaption going to be successful without strategic consideration? Next, risk management. Risk. In addition to the strategic risks, are the risks likely to impact the objective being achieved. An example may be the university sector is unable to provide the required resources and expertise for the homegrown AI industry. This would need to be factored into the policy. Mitigation. The measures required to mitigate the risk and the required responses. An example may be the use of defense funding and research to prioritize and assure. Strategy. How does the strategy itself manage the risk, including the strategic risk? By focusing on homegrown, the strategy removes the dependency on external parties, but takes time to develop. By making the economy less reliant on external parties, the risk of isolationism is to be managed. This simple example shows the importance of risk management within AI adoption and adaptation. The business need for risk management exists just as it does for government policy. Decisions. Once strategy is decided, a range of decisions are still required. Options. By its nature, strategy eliminates options. The decision to build homegrown capacity and capabilities to be then overturned and then reverse can be costly and ineffectual. Decisions and follow through are required. Inaction versus action. A decision to stick with a strategy is different to inaction, just as a decision to delay or vary of aspects of implementation is different. It is the drifting and inaction which is harmful to strategic outcomes. From delays in decisions to proceed, to indecision in risk management, to being on hold, the economic development policy is impacted like the business and its missed opportunities. Timing. Strategy is often about the long term, 5 to 10 years to bring economic transformation around AI. During this period, the unknowns and uncertainties, the setbacks and changes in views are managed. Success in strategy is often about timing. With decision making, the economic transformation strategy can be managed. It is the indecision and drift which is detrimental, just as it is in business. Impacting. While strategy eliminates options and it is about staying the course, the implementation of strategy varies in response to circumstances and events. Short-term pragmatics. Strategy can be overtaken by the short-term pragmatics with a tendency to move away from the strategy. In setting up the strategy, it is about management to an overall strategy. So the government developing a homegrown capacity and capability for AI transformation may vary policy around university funding and prioritize to win election while aligning with its overall intent of economic transformation around AI. The unknown. Whether a strategy will work is often unknown. Estimates around its likelihood of success and measures to assure are taken, but there is a lot of uncertainty and unknowns which can see strategy being unwound and overlooked. Events. Any strategy is subject to events beyond the control. These are either opportunities or bring changes to implement. A government wanting to stimulate the economy around AI through building a homegrown capacity and capability implements a range of policies, some more successful than others, to achieve with activities aligned to the strategic intent. Similarly, for a business, implement. Any strategy is only as good as its implementation and adoption and adaptation to circumstance. Commensurate. A strategy needs to be obtainable so that progress is seen and people can be taken on the journey. Therefore, having the capacity and capability to achieve with the necessary resources, funds, expertise, and time is required. A government seeking economic growth from a homegrown AI industry knows that this will take time and can only be done if the required resources are allocated. Similarly, for a business, the AI transformation is not just going to happen. Realized. A strategy has to be realized. This may be done over time in stages, but people need to be taken on the journey and see the transformation relating to them. The same applies to business transforming around AI. Response. It is in the implementation and adoption and adaptation to circumstance that strategy is realized. The government wanting economic growth through its homegrown AI industry responds to circumstance by changing policies, funding, and priorities. So it is with a business. It is in the implementation and adoption and adaptation to circumstance through which strategy is realized. Finally, perspective. A strategy achieves success when there is engagement. We buy into it, see returns from it with ongoing engagement. A government seeking economic growth from a homegrown AI industry knows that it needs to sell its proposition, sell the stage successes, sell the benefits, and bring people on the journey. The engagement varies by audience, time, and level of success seen. In this simple example, the need for strategy within transformation around artificial intelligence is seen. From strategic risk management to stage delivery against strategy to being able to adopt and adapt to circumstance to messaging, all requires strategic intent. What is your strategic intent within your business transformation around AI? Please share in the comments below. Thank you for your time. May the skills and expertise shared be of value to you and those you support in this changing world. Please subscribe, add your comments, and share with others.